paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, that's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes.
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Welcome back, everybody, to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler, joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Jason Alt, cracking that beer, and DJ Johnson back with us this week. Welcome in, everybody. How's it going?
Why did you hold up a picture of your kids?
Oh, this? You were talking, oh, look how cute my kids are. This is a picture. My wife got me a calendar for my birthday.
Yeah, but you're in the picture too,
It's
though.
my birthday. Happy birthday to me. It's a calendar full of pictures of me. Look how cool this is. Look how jealous you are.
I'm jealous that I don't have one of those calendars to put in my bedroom and use as birth control.
You wish you had one of these.
Not because you're ugly, but because, like, I'm reminded that a kid is a very serious consequence of not being careful.
Corbin, how did she make every single picture of you in that calendar make you look like a youth pastor that like is vaguely threatening?
Oh, what are you talking about? Look how
Like
cool
you're a vaguely threatening youth pastor in every
Nah,
single picture.
This is my new Twitter profile picture.
You know who else had Angel's Grace?
Look at that.
Corbin trying to be a youth
How
pastor
nice
at the
my
LGS.
family is. Look. Get out of here. Y'all just haters. My cute little bald baby. Come on. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. We're going to
The
talk
real
about magic,
Neon
I
Dynasty
guess.
was inside us the whole time. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, baby.
Well, Neon Dynasty has been a lot of fun. Everyone says it's the best Magic set in 5 years. All right, we are going to talk about a lot this week. We've got TCG changes coming to their grading, apropos of us talking the last couple weeks about some of the disputes that come up in grading. We've got all of your favorite segments. We've got some great picks of the week coming up at the end of the cast. But first, I have an important question for you all. Do you believe that a hedge fund worth hundreds of millions of dollars cares about the impact of alchemy on the historic format? Yes or no?
I do. And
do?
I think they will be better stewards of the entire company.
I think that if you take Magic Twitter's word for it, that hedge fund thinks that your average standard or commander deck is worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
For those
Like,
who don't, yeah.
The way Magic Twitter complains about card prices, they think that like an amulet of safekeeping is $70 or something. Like Magic cards are just that unattainable.
Yeah, for those who don't know, a hedge fund known as AltaFox, which owns a large share in Hasbro, the parent company of Wizards of the Coast, came out basically as activist investors and said, look, we don't think you're doing a good job of returning value to customers. We think that these changes could be made to increase profits. And we think that one of the immediate changes that should be made is putting John Finkel, who, for those of you who don't know, when he's not, being the John Finkel, the best Magic player in the world, once upon a time, he's a hedge fund manager or a hedge fund guy. So,
And he's a guy who goes on Tinder dates with mean women.
yes, that is an old meme, but it does check out.
God, that's like 10, 11 years. Jesus, like older
An
than
old
that,
one.
like,
No,
That's like
nobody
10,
look
12
it.
or-
Nobody look it up, because if you tell me that's like 2012, I will cry.
It's
I want to
probably
say like
older than
2009 or 2010. I could be
Oh.
wrong though.
Oh.
I think it's around Pro Tour Philadelphia, which was 2011. But regardless,
That's
anyway,
uncomfortable.
so they'd like to put John Finkel on the board of Hasbro, and they think all of this has been sold at their freethewizardswebsite.com as a way to improve Magic. And they came out with this basically kind of a little bit of a media blitz, a PR blitz, to try to get the Magic community on their side. And a lot of people who have been staunchly anti-Wizards, anti-Hasbro, of course, wanted to jump on this train. You know, the grass is always greener on the other side, but a lot of people on Twitter pointed out that, hey, maybe these people in this for the money are in it for the money and not for your experience playing Magic Arena. So It's quite a bit of drama there. I mean, the impact of spinning off Wizards into its own, I guess, company division outside of the rest of Hasbro could work out very well for the Wizards of the Coast and their own stock price or anything like that. But it doesn't seem like it would work out great for Hasbro, which has been leaning harder and harder on Magic over the past decade, and really over the past 3 to 5 years. For a lot of their revenue. Magic has become a bigger and bigger deal as part of Hasbro, as sort of the, the Transformers decade sort of, fell
all their
off,
decisions are bad, is what you're saying, right?
Doesn't Monopoly still have like a bigger market share? Than Magic?
Monopoly does very well. Monopoly is one of their core brands, as is Magic. And I think Transformers is another, and I think My Little Pony is another. A lot of their toy brands, but Magic's been doing very well for them, and Magic has doubled or tripled its revenue or whatever in the past 3 years that they bragged about. They got the Wizards of the Coast CEO promoted to the Hasbro CEO. But here's the thing: this is sort of my take. If a hedge fund company were to come in and take over, and they want to make more profit, well, that just means directing more money to shareholders. So literally that would just mean likely less investment than Hasbro's currently giving, which we already have people complaining about. I don't see this in any way improving Magic per se. But hey, if this ended with John Finkel getting on the board of Hasbro, I guess, hey, having a player voice there is better than off than we were, even if I don't expect this to have a huge impact either way in the long term. That's my take.
I think you could have just said like 1 or 2 sentences instead, which is like people whose net worth is measured in black lotuses do not have your best interest at heart.
I wanted to give a little bit of context, but yes, I think that sums it up very well.
You saw what they did to Toys R Us. What do you think they'll do?
Yikes. Well, that's actually, funny you bring that up. That's part of the problem.
Can we get Jeffrey the Giraffe as a zombie token in the secret lair?
Oh, wow, that'd be amazing.
I can't wait till we have a secret layer of the Burger King Kids Club. Remember the Burger King Kids Club? That's who I want to see represented as planeswalkers or legendary creatures with partner with.
I hope you understand that the end of the end all be all of this is getting bought by Disney, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's where this goes, right? At what point
Disney's going to be the only media company in 10 years.
Yes, they are. At what point does Disney buy Hasbro? A lot sooner than you think.
I think in 10 years, every company will be Amazon, and we will just work for a division of Amazon.
If it's Amazon, it's Disney. It's not even Fox. Fox got bought by whoever. It's Paramount.
It's is it Nestle or what's the one that owns Nestle? Mars?
It might be Mars, yeah. Anyways, if you look at the charts, you can Google them. Anyways.
The infographic that JJ put up, you are owned by at least one company, yeah.
Yeah, everything's owned by about a handful of companies in the world. So
I let Tyson inject a chip into my neck in exchange for free frozen breast tenderloins.
Made in sweatshop conditions by workers without health care.
Well, Corbin, if people are doing labor in your shop, it's going to get sweaty. So every shop is a sweatshop when you think about it.
Good point.
Don't
mess up our B-Dub sponsorship. It's coming.
Why haven't you gotten us a B-Dub sponsorship?
We've tried. Somebody out there listening has to work at a B-Dubs, right? Come on, hook us up.
Do you think a waiter at a B-Dubs is going to have a better shot than you emailing their...
I did it. I emailed them. We tried. It didn't work out. Maybe we should try again.
They're so dumb. You know how many tens of dollars in extra sales they could get? And all they need to do is just keep delivering wings to you.
Easy, right?
Corbin, you should ask the guy.
Is the sauce supposed to come on the side? I just don't want to know if I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong because I thought the sauce came on the wings, but I guess not.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out. But I'll tell you one thing that is never easy, and that is guessing my breaking bulks.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
All right, I've got a blue common from Morningtide.
Distant Melodies.
No.
Sage of Fables? Is it a creature?
That's an uncommon Age of Fables, so no, it's not that.
Is it a creature?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Is it Moth Dust Changeling?
You can say I'm not going to tell you, but don't say you don't know.
It is not Moth Dust Changeling, although that is a pick from this set. It is a creature.
That's a really good card. I remember using that as a tap enabler for Grimoire Thief.
Yeah, it's an expensive
did I just
foil.
admit I played Merfolk? Oh, I mean,
You played Wizards.
it was in Guile. Yeah, that's the ticket. It was a wizard deck. They just
So
all
you
happened
played
to be Merfolk.
you played Merfolk Wizards in Standard around that time?
Yeah, low run
And you-
Morningtide Standard.
And you can't name me a blue common creature from Morningtide worth $1?
From Morningtide though, from that deck, and it's not Moth Dust Changeling.
From a
I don't know,
Merfolk
man.
Wizard deck?
I don't. Okay, you're being really smug, but you picked a banned set, so I don't want to hear it.
Nope, no banned sets. DJ unbanned them. This is legal, and it's $1.
I don't even look at these sets anymore because I just pick everything from those sets. $1. It's $1 blue creature that I would have played in Standard Merfolk, and it's not Moth Dust Changeling.
That's correct.
I don't know.
DJ, you give up?
Yeah. I might know it when you say it, but yeah.
Stony Brook Banneret.
Oh, that
No,
one.
that was from Lorwyn.
No.
Oh,
You are right. You all nailed everything else. Look,
I guess
Moth
the
Dust
more
Changeling-
obscure ones. That one was
Yeah,
actually more
I thought the
Moth Dust
Banneret-
Changeling is about 75 cents. Distant Melody is 50 cents to $1. Those are picks as
Distant
well.
Melody has like 3 printings. It's crazy that it's that much, but I guess it draws a ton of cards. Wasn't that in the Slivers foil
Yep.
deck? Yeah. So you get the worst foil ever.
No, there's a lot of contenders for worst foil ever nowadays.
Yeah, I have cards that have curled in half. Like I had a card that was sitting on top of a pile, sort of like this, I guess, right? If you see on my screen, where one card was just half off the pile,
Ooh.
and it curled around on one side over the course of 3 weeks in my office.
That's brutal.
Like it was a Commander Legends card or a Theros Beyond card or something.
Well, everyone's
It's just-
I hate that the foils curl from humidity, and they're like, we're gonna hire a brand new materials chemist, and they're gonna take care of the foils curling from humidity. And now it's now the foils curl from a lack of humidity. We did it.
Makes
We
me
listened to your
mad.
concerns.
I know I'm late to the train here, but it was one thing when it was pack foils, whatever. But now people paying $40-$50 for secret layers to get cards that aren't even sleeve playable. It's just such an insult.
How is that still a problem?
Great question, man. I was playing Commander with people a few nights ago. They showed me some of their new secret layer stuff, and it's just you can't even hope to unbend them. They don't even bend evenly. They just bend everywhere. They just come out like that. But hey, record profits. What can we do?
Yep. What we need is a hedge fund to crank out even more secret layers.
That's right. Right. All right, Jason, what do you have for your breaking bulk?
Well, I never would have thought I'd be stumped by Corbin, so now I'm a little less confident in my pick. I still think I will get you guys with a black uncommon from Guild Pact. Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Hissing
sound.
Miasma.
Yeah, it's the only one from that set. Hissing Miasma
Nice.
is like a buck. It's quite a good card. Whenever a creature attacks you, its controller loses 1 life. Throw it in your Ishin to Heavens as 1 deck.
All right, there you go. DJ, you're up.
Onslaught Black Common.
Not a clue.
Is it? No, not Chainer's Edict.
Corbin, you don't need to know. You don't need to have played Standard for stuff like this.
It's not the ritual, is it?
It is black? I said,
Yeah.
I didn't say black.
Yeah, there's a black ritual in Onslaught. No, that's Torment. What's Onslaught? What's that? expansion symbol look like?
It's a morph. Or a
Oh.
spider, if you want to, like, it's
I
technically a
understand.
morph.
I
It's
know
the
what the
flat.
symbol
It's the
is.
table with a lot of legs.
Yes, I know what the symbol is, but I cannot name cards.
Onslaught
outside
Black
offhand.
Common.
Might recognize it by its art, but not by its name. Or I
Yes,
can't-
you would, Corbin. You would.
Huh?
This
all
is
right,
a-
all right, fair enough. All right, fair enough. I'll think.
Also, like, use like deductive logic. Like, what's in Onslaught?
Creatures.
Morph.
It's all creature set, right?
No, that was
It's not.
That
It's
was,
legions.
That's
but you're
legions.
close. Like,
that's
it is
legions.
tribes.
Yeah. It's Mistform Ultimus, obviously.
Well,
That
the
one's from
black
Scourge.
the black tribe around then was
It's the zombies.
But I can't remember the.
Heedless one, I believe, is the zombie, but
That
'Cause I
isn't
would've-
a zombie from that set. It's uncommon, but or soulless one is the zombie. Heedless one
Soulless
is
one.
the
Yeah.
goblin or the elf.
Maybe.
Heedless one's the
I don't
elf, I
know.
think.
I would have
I'm trying
maybe
to. I'm
said
checking how many reprints
Nantuko
it has.
Husk, but
It's
there's
not a
no
lot.
way. There's no way it's Nantuko Husk.
No.
No, that card's not a pick.
It has
Is it-
one
is it a
reprint, and this has one reprint. I'm surprised. I thought this had more reprints. Not even a mystery booster printing. It's Onslaught, and then one other set, which is Plane Chase, which obviously was a zombie precon.
It's not obvious
Shepherd
to
of
me.
Rot.
It is Shepherd of Rot.
Oh, that's common.
Yep.
Okay,
It's $1. Nice little $1 bill you find in
I've been
Onslaught
seeing
bulk.
mental images of set symbols, and they've all been wrong. So
It's a cleric too, for whatever that's worth, which isn't usually relevant. 'cause
I
it's
asked if
got-
it was a cleric.
I don't
Did
think
you?
did.
Yeah, I
think
did.
You did. I didn't hear it.
Go to the tape.
Check the tape.
2 mana, zombie cleric, tap. Each player loses 1 life for each zombie in play. This card can cause a lot of draws. You can sort of die on the sword if you want to and take a bunch of people out with yourself. But it also just kind of kills a lot of people, and you do have the ability to pull the trigger when you want to, so it's $1. And it was only in Plane Chase. I thought this was in more things, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's a matter of time until we have another big zombie push, right? Like, ostensibly, Innistrad could have been that, and we saw some. I don't know how much we saw zombie
Well,
card spike, but
so that is
things
the
like
thing
this
about-
are almost just cyclical.
So that is the thing about zombies and other popular creature types, is that you can look at cards like this and think that they should be worth more,
Yeah.
until you realize
Like-
that Commander has like 99 cards, and even when there is like a huge amount of variance between player choice,
Yeah.
you do only have room for 99 cards, and you have to cut the 300th best one, which could
Yeah.
be this. So
Yeah, one of the cards I think about when you bring that up is Risen Executioner. It's a zombie out of Dragons of Tarkir. JJ can put it on the screen here, but it's 4/3 for 4, can't block. Other zombies you control get +1. You can cast it from your graveyard if you pay 1 more to cast it for each other creature card in your graveyard. So the idea is you bring your zombies out, you also get to bring this out for cheap. And I always thought that this was a great long-term spec because it was a zombie lord, right? And then you cast it from your graveyard. It's a
Yeah.
mythic. This is great. And
How
I
many
mean,
zombie
look, the
lords
card
can they possibly print?
Look, and it was in the sense that the card was $1.50, $2 forever, and it recently climbed up to $4 and has come back down. But, you know, if you had asked me in 2015 what Risen Executioner would have been worth in 6 years without a reprint, I would have said $10 no
Yep.
minimum. So,
But every set
yeah.
has a zombie lord now.
yeah. So it's a great point.
And it's not just other zombie lords or other zombie creatures that threaten a card's inclusion in a deck. There's also whenever they do another tribal EDH set and give us 3 more Vanquishers banners type cards.
yeah.
So creatures get cut when the infrastructure of a tribal deck expands. You got yours as incubator and your banner and all kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden you've got 23 cards baked into every tribal deck. So
Yeah.
as that number increases, you squeeze out your worst zombie at that point too.
Yep. Very much so. All right.
The more they design cards for EDH, the less our 2014 Eternal Witness will always go back up, even if it's reprinted. Wisdom applies less and less because they're printing cards directly for EDH, and they're coming up with a million new ways to reprint stuff, and all of that is. Remember we said every Planeswalker you should buy if it ever got as low as $5. Now they're giving us 25-cent mythic Planeswalkers.
On my TCG Direct buy list, I have every bulk planeswalker is on my TCG Direct buy list for 15 cents. And
15, you wouldn't even pay a quarter.
And I just get them sometimes. I mean, after the fee, I pay like 17 cents or whatever. But like, sometimes I just like get my TCG Direct buy list, and it's like, oh, there's like 7 copies of Dovin Grand Arbiter from Commander Innistrad Vow or whatever, or like Sarkon the Master List from War of the Spark. I just get copies of those, and then
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think that paying 15 cents or even 17 cents or whatever per Mythic in bulk is likely not a bad strategy if you're in someone in DJ's position.
I'll just pay like that number. I'll pay up to a quarter. So if you're listening to the podcast, I'll pay up to a quarter. But like on any rare or mythic planeswalker,
very good for DJ, someone in DJ's position. Like we've talked before about DJ's backstock that he has when cards spike or whatever, and that's the way you fill something like that, right? Yeah, 90 whatever percent of the quarter mythics you get are never gonna, or quarter planeswalkers you get or whatever are never gonna do anything, but some of them will, and DJ will be somebody who can help fill the market. And for the rest of you, hey, you can use
it's not so much for specking so much as for instant flips.
If you build instant collections and you put a mythic planeswalker in there that costs you a quarter, someone's gonna poop in their pants and they will buy the rest of them.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good ways for someone who does a lot of volume to use that stuff. Great. I mean, speaking of TCGPlayer, though, they have actually, you know, we've talked the last couple of weeks about what to do when you encounter condition issues and disagreements with sellers and buyers on the platform. And TCGPlayer has actually announced some, or I guess updated some guidance on some grading. DJ, do you want to go ahead and explain in a nutshell what people should know?
Sure. So TCGPlayer, ever the technology company and never the communication company, decided to just drop this on a Facebook page without actually being transparent and sharing it to sellers beforehand via email, but that's beside the point. They came out with their card conditioning standard PDF. It is 8 whole pages of infographics and little graphic design and, little booklet pamphlet you can print out for your store employees or whatnot, but it is an attempt to standardize conditioning across the industry, which I can appreciate an attempt to do because they even address it in here, like subjectivity and consistency is an issue the industry has had with this, where we use like near mint, lightly played, moderately played, heavily played, damaged. Europe uses like the Apple emoji suite for their MKM card market suite of conditions, and thankfully they have finally moved away from that. But there's still a lot of just inconsistencies from even just like locally, domestically, not even talking about internationally. So they have set much more specific definitions for imperfections, edgeware, scuffing, bends, damage, defects, terms that have been around for a long time but just never sort of like codified. Slight, minor, moderate, major, and then defining what number of each of these and how many and how bad of each of these things a card can have before it is downgraded per level. So you have up to 3 points of imperfections are allowed in the following types. We'll have JJ put all of the pages of this on here if you're watching on YouTube, but so you can follow along and make it look like you're looking at something school related. When you're in your college lecture, like, and the professor walks behind, they'll be like, "Oh, this person's looking at a PDF. That's official. That's some YouTube learning." Yeah, you got your headphones in, so they can't hear me. Then they got lightly played, 6 points, moderately 12 points. They have a little like scorecard here of definitions, and the general overarching point of this is that there's 2 points to this, one for the buyer, one for the seller. For a buyer, if you're looking to buy a card, you now are it's going to be much harder for you to try to edge case and sort of like, well, this card's not near mint because it has a little nick at the top, and I was hoping to get this Blastoise graded, and so as the seller, you can just ship them a link to this PDF and say like, well, this card falls between near mint because this was the imperfection I noticed on it. It has 1 to 2 slight pieces of edgeware. It is still near mint, because it is not mint, it is near mint. That is the condition of the card we sell. TCG does not sell mint cards, they sell near mint cards. And then as the seller, you can sort of have that in your back pocket, and you can also just sort of give your employees or yourself just sort of a tutorial guideline on like, okay, how should I condition this card? I'm selling on TCG for the first time. I'm looking at this Shepherd of Rot. I'm looking at the front and the back. Okay, normally as somebody who has never conditioned a card before, I would just look at the edges. The edges are clean. It's near mint. Nope. Wait. TCG says that I should look for scuffing and scratches too. Okay, there's scuffing and scratches on it. Now it is LP. I know. I have learned. I have done a learning. So there's a lot of value in this in terms of like high volume sellers giving something to codify for their employees. There's something, I don't think that there's real much value in this for a buyer, because like the person who needs to see and use this before buying most is not going to. Like that person is still going to make that complaint to TCGPlayer about the card they bought, and then it's just going to hopefully alleviate some of TCGPlayer's customer service on their end, so that customer service is not dealing with that escalation to their platform, and this can be resolved between a buyer and a seller with this. So most buyers, I think, will if you see this before you buy a card, you probably didn't need to see it. You probably already knew how to condition a card. But it is a step in the right direction in terms of standardization within the industry. Some stores may have to like recondition their entire inventory if they were not conditioning correctly, or if they were learning something from this and saying, oh, all of my near mint cards have 4 to 5 imperfections. I got to go through and redo all that. But I personally don't really have the need to change my inventory, because near mint for me has always been pretty strict because I sell on direct.
When I was selling out of the LGS, we always sold everything at LP just to avoid the argument, right? It's just easier, you know.
So DJ, what happens if you send in a card to direct and they don't agree with your grading?
If you send in a card to direct and they don't agree with their grading, then TCGPlayer will fulfill that order by buying a correct being their definition.
Sure.
Buying a correct version of that card on the TCG Direct marketplace, and then you as the seller
charging you for the difference
will be billed for that card, and not for the difference. You'll be billed for that card that they bought, and then
you get paid for the one you sold. Okay.
Your card will be set aside in a they call it seller extra inventory, which is basically like, hey, we couldn't fulfill this RI for whatever reason. Maybe we didn't have the card in stock. Maybe it was in correct condition on your end. Whatever. And then they will stockpile a seller extra inventory of cards that could not be used to fulfill RIs, and then they will send that to you on your request or after 90 days.
Cool. Interesting.
And then you can either go through and look at all the cards and make your case, or you can relist them or whatever. It's generally just less work to like batch it into your existing stuff that you need to list again, and be more closely looking at the condition when you do list it up. Like I've definitely missed a few things where it's like, oh, this I didn't notice this had water on it. Whoops, little water splot that somebody caught as damage when I should have been LP or whatever. I don't think most people will be changing their conditioning across the board, but my hot take is that they should. My opinion on industry standards matches Star City's. And for those of you who don't know, Star City changed their grading a while back. It's been obviously pandemic time asterisk, but it's been in like a year or two, I think. Star City sells near mint cards, they sell played cards, and then they sell HP cards. Those are their 3 grades. They don't have damage, they don't have LP, they don't have MP. They have near mint, played, and HP. And in my experience, that those are the 3 funnels that filter into what people want. They want
the cheapest sleeve playable copy.
Yes.
You know. Or they want to save 50 cents on a $3 card, getting a card that's, just fine, I guess. Or there's the people that want their card to look as near mint as possible. Yeah, the difference between LP and MP is so small from a player demand standpoint, not from like a conditioning. Like there's edge cases. Obviously, bad MP and like good LP, there's a pretty wide difference between them. Financially, sometimes, obviously, all this stuff gets thrown out the window when it comes to high end. Like, you can't just be like, it's a played underground, so you get what you get. But like, there's more granular grading and conditioning as the value of the card goes up.
Yep.
But as there
but
would be actual like price tiers, like if the card's $1, like you don't have to get granular on like, is this LP plus or NM minus? It doesn't matter. But if you're talking where every little chunk you go down is $10-20, then it really matters.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. Also, to DJ's point, think about how many hours have been spent by TCGPlayer as a business, as a company, over the basic dispute of LP versus MP with customers. You know, just over the lifetime of that company, how many hours of labor would have been saved by just only having a played division? Just food for thought, yeah.
And I mean, obviously, not everyone is going to agree with that. There are arguments against it, and there are certainly good faith arguments to suggest that there should be LP and MP for every category. This is just my personal experience and my preference and how I would find selling cards significantly easier if there was no need to categorize between even those two conditions. And that also goes for like if you're selling on direct. And the way your RI gets filled, you know that like near mint is its own section, then LP, and then MP, and then HP, and then it's set sorted and alphabetized, or it's chronologically sorted, then alphabetized within those conditions. So most sellers' inventory is not codified per condition. Like if you look behind me on the YouTube video, I don't have like a near mint cabinet, then an LP cabinet, then an MP cabinet, then an HP cabinet, with all of those being set, sorted, and alphabetized between conditions.
That's what we did.
That's so much more work, right?
It was a little bit, but yeah, but that was we graded first because we were also making a like put into the store pile, so there's a little bit of a reason for it. But yeah,
right.
We started with the grading. But
then, like, if somebody comes up to you and says, like, "Hey, do you have a hollowed fountain?" You're like, "Let me check the near mints. Let me check the LPs."
We kept it. So we kept our online inventory separate. That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, like if you have customers asking for your cards, like you don't want to be checking 4 bins for every card.
Behind the counter, all the cards go into one alphabetized color box. Yeah.
Right. And so like reducing the number of conditions to have to like distinguish between is just way more efficient considering player demand.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, speaking of player demand, the best place to track that is, of course, mtgstocks.com, the sponsor of this podcast and the place we go for all of the picks of the week that are coming to you right now.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
I will start things off with a recent card that you guys probably don't even know what it does. Reflections of Litjara.
I know what this card does. This card's like very unique and iconic.
It's just new.
Corbin hasn't built an EDH deck since 2017. He's like, I'm gonna blow your guys' minds.
I built Tarchulos. Get out of here. Anyways, Reflections of Litjara. It's a 5-mana enchantment from Kaldheim. It's $2. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. Very powerful. Very unique. Tribal, only $2. Get it. Kaldheim was an all-time great set. People are already labeling Kamigawa the best set in the past 5 years, but I gotta say, Kaldheim was pretty good.
So was Ikoria. They were both really lit sets that just kind of, I don't know. It felt like they didn't get discussed very much. And then everyone was sort of like, we're not holding our breath waiting for COVID to end anymore. I guess we'll go back to talking about Magic sets on Twitter. I miss those days.
Yep. All right. Jason, what do you got?
I got a card that is predicated on the new Samurai, the Mardu Killer guy, Ishin.
Ooh, you might have stolen my pick. Let's hear it.
Ilharg the Raised Boar.
Nope. Still got it. Yes.
Were you going to say Light Minefield or...
I was not.
Fervent Charge, which...
Nope.
is already $20. Yeah, Ilharg the Rage Boar triggers twice. It seems like a kind of a no-brainer. It's a profoundly unfair Magic card. I don't think the Secret Drop Layer series is going to do much for the price because I don't think that the really ugly, just mono orange art is going to be in that high demand.
Oh no, I've never seen this one before. JJ, put this one on screen.
It's so bad. So I kind of think the original
it's just so washed out. Yeah. I play that in my L deck. I love that card.
Maybe if you like the color orange, that's what you're into. But it reminds me too much of the terrible showcase treatment on the AFR cards, where everything looked like a PHB. This is kind of like the same deal. Hillhark doesn't even have his trademark green mohawk, which I'm upset about. So, in conclusion, maybe you can't go wrong with Hillhark because like there are multiple versions.
I gotta say,
under $5, and that's
the green mohawk. Listen, the green mohawk on that orange card would have looked pretty cool. Just saying.
Yeah, man, like Sin City or something where only the color red shows up. I don't know, man.
All right, so my pick, and I'm using MTG stocks for this, has been 99 cents for several years now, just since like 2016, 2017. But recently, since the printing of New Samurai guy that Jason just mentioned, I'm not going to know the name of the card. This card is spiked.
His name is Ishin 2 Heavens as 1, and he looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay, well,
Sure.
that has made this card go from 99 cents to $1.20 on average, and this is Brutal Horde Chief from Fate Reforged and Commander 2016.
Yeah.
Love it.
And obviously more attack triggers when attack thing stuff happen. But it also allows you to just wreck the battlefield in combat, and it allows you to wreck anyone's battlefield in combat, because as a 5-mana activate ability, creatures your opponents control block this turn if able, and you choose how those creatures block. So you can just you can king make with this. You can do a lot of weird stuff with Ishin, especially if your opponents don't want to attack you because you have some various ghostly prison-y stuff. You can send them in another direction and then crazy blow out somebody. But this is $1. It is a Mythic Fate Reforged with one additional reprinting in Commander 2016 in Saskia, I think.
I think it was Saskia.
Because it says attack on it. That'd be my guess. But it's just a powerful effect that I think will find a home in this Mardu Commander deck and have a lot of people buy it because it's $1. So it seems like an easy buy a brick of them at 99 cents and then get out at a few dollars later.
This would be cool. Like... This is a card I know for a fact that I have in my bulk mythic box. Yeah. Right? The mythics that are not even worth buy listing anywhere, that are just thrown into a box. I have a couple thousand of them, and I know there are Brutal Horde Chiefs in that box. So this would be a nice one to see spike, I'll say that.
Yeah. I feel like kind of what DJ and I did was the same thing this week, where you go to Ishin 2 Heavens as one page on EDH Rec, and it kind of sorts the cards by what's played the most. And if you're not using that as a tool, maybe you should be, because you can just at a glance see the 14 highest synergy cards that are played mostly with Ishin versus being a format staple. So when something sticks out like that, people latched on to Fervent Charge immediately, because whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +4/+4. And, an old, what is it, Apocalypse rare that was bulk $2 forever, all of a sudden $20 on TCGPlayer. So, if you have access to EDH Rec data, because the set's been out long enough, it's worth it to check out those pages. And I get most of my picks just from what people are playing. Not what people say on Twitter that they'd like to play. Well, we're noticing that, 35, 40, 45% of the people who build this decks are playing this card. Having access to that data means that your specs are a lot more educated. So that's, go ahead. If
we go to the high synergy cards, it says there's 14 of them. These are all, of course, just cards that say the word attack whenever attack on them. Fervent Charge is 55% of 2,000 decks, and Brutal Horde Chief is 61% of 2,000 decks. Yeah. So, Fervent Charge is clearly the oldest of all these cards because it's from Apocalypse. But I would argue that draining opponents for 1 is occasionally better than getting +2/+2.
+4/+4.
Well, draining for 2 is better than +4/+4, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's right.
All right, there you go. Well, Everybody, I'll tell you this. It took us, we didn't have DJ last week, and we had a good time tonight. We recorded some after hours, which, of course, you can get by going to patreon.com/BSB. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody sticking with us here through the new year. We're already into March. Jason just sent out a round of glasses to patrons. Be on the lookout for those. I believe we have more stuff coming out in the coming months. So thank you, everyone who is a member of that Patreon. It keeps us going and makes all of this possible. So, as always, thank you for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.